good Tuesday morning. Couple of blowouts yesterday with the Mets and Yankees. A positive one for the Yankees, a negative one for the Mets. Mets have to flush it and move on. The Yankees need to build off this offensive explosion that they have been having and get off to another great start like they did last year. And we've got a brand new, not really, national champion in basketball as UConn does it again. They do it in impressive fashion. They blew everybody out. And none of these games were close. This was one of the most impressive runs in men's tournament history. And that's what made it a little bit boring, because last night was another instance where you wanted to see a great game and did not because UConn was that much better. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I have to say, Dan Hurley's team, boy, I'll tell you what, average margin of victory, 20 points through 6 games. That's one of the greatest runs, if not the greatest run, in the history of the NCAA tournament. And, I mean, this came out of nowhere. There was a point in time where, everybody was wondering how good they really were early on in the season. I think there was a point where they had lost like 6 of 8 games or something.
Well, they started off on that great run. They were like 13-0 or something. They got up to second overall in the country. And then, they struggled down the stretch, so much so that they ended up being a 4 seed in the tournament.
But you know what this is? This is a prime example of a team that gets together, they're healthy, and they find their game at the right time. You could say this about any sport and about any team that's going to go on to a championship. And any team that ultimately wins that championship in that sport has all the same kind of trappings of what UConn had going through this whole thing, was that they were playing their best basketball, team basketball. They were shooting well. They were rebounding well. They were defending well. And when they got on a run, it was almost impossible to stop them. And San Diego State's a very good defensive team. And you thought maybe, just maybe, they were going to make a run there. And then all of a sudden, UConn responded, and it was like hammer to the ground, and they just couldn't stop. San Diego State just didn't have an answer. So I don't know. It was a great run, and like I said, one of the greatest runs of all time in the history of the NCAA. And unfortunately, it just wasn't. Other games were great, but this any game that the UConn played in was not great.
Yeah, I mean, they were great. They were interesting in the way that they were blowing everybody out, and history will treat them kindly. But in the moment, watching these games, hoping for entertaining games, unless you were betting UConn to cover or win, and you just had a rocking chair every single time, it probably wasn't interesting to you because they were that good. That's how dominant they were, which is unlike college basketball in recent memory. I mean, usually the best teams have issues because the gap has been closed from the best teams to the teams like San Diego State and Florida Atlantic and so on. But UConn proved that, that they were as good as we've seen in a number of years, 20 points or more in every single one of these. Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Really, it's a testament to all those players and certainly to the coach. And all I can tell you is that UConn is back, and they have to be considered one of the great basketball schools.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Of all time. I mean, there's 5 championships.
Yeah, and Jim Calhoun leaving, and then Kevin Ollie wins one in 14, but of course he ended up after that having some issues, and then with the violations, and Dan Hurley comes in and just really built it up every single year. And there's that famous clip that's been going around. I guess it was early 2020. I'm not sure exactly when, but it was a couple of seasons ago, where he said, "You better get us now because we're coming." And he backed that up.
He did back that up, man. I'll tell you what a run. What an absolutely unbelievable run. The question is, can they keep all the players in, and bring them back? Probably not. I would imagine that there'll be some defections, but anyway, interesting watching this Yankee game yesterday.
Yeah.
It's New Jack City all over again, man.
Jack City.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's home run after home run after home run. And maybe, just maybe, there's a guy on this roster that is basically going to have what we would consider a significant comeback year, and that would be Gleyber Torres. That everybody thought he'd be traded. Everybody's wondering if he's still going to be here. I know that he has been frustrating over the last couple of years. But I have to say, he's off to a really good start, and if there's no way he'll keep this pace up. But I have to say, he looks like he did when he was younger, and he looks like he's refreshed and healthy and ready to roll.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about last year with the shortcomings with them offensively in the biggest moments, there was a third layer of it. You did not having LeMahieu, not having Benintendi, and Gleyber Torres not being the same player that he was since 2019. It was, he had put together essentially, 2020 pandemic season, you throw it out, but 21 and 22, he just wasn't the same guy. And if you remember in 19, he was so dominant. He against the Orioles, he got like 1 million home runs. You could not stop him at all. And then ever since then, it was disappointing. Now, I was one of the guys. Now maybe he's the Daniel Jones of, now he did have some success prior. Well, I guess Daniel Jones did too in his rookie season, but maybe he's the Daniel Jones of the Yankees for me, which is I wanted him gone. I was done. Move on. Shake this team up. One of the ways you do that is to get rid of Gleyber Torres, and he sticks around, and maybe this is the start of a great year. Obviously very, very early, but you really want to talk about something that could change this lineup significantly without adding something is him. Sort of like what we talk about with Mekhi Becton coming back for the Jets. Yes, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of new faces, all of that. But if you get someone who's been on the roster that's either been missing time or been disappointing that wakes up and has a huge year that you weren't expecting.
That's the point. This is. You never know which one of these players has that. Now Stanton's got a couple home runs as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he stays healthy, and, there's no telling. But you figure there's going to be a 6-week stint on the IL sooner or later.
Sure, yes.
But as of right now, this is you couldn't ask for a better start, I think. This and the Phillies are awful.
Yes.
Right? And Phillies can't get out of their way. This kind of reminds me of the Phillies of last year.
Yeah.
Where they weren't that great. They had all these opportunities to win games, but they didn't win them because their bullpen was terrible.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it a little bit on the broadcast last night. And then, of course, they bring in their second, I forget the guy's name, but they were talking about how he's filthy and he's got this and he's got that. And the next thing you know, Rizzo launches one.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is exactly Yankee baseball at its finest. It's home runs. It's home runs up and down the lineup, and it's a different guy every day.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about with the regular season, where unfortunately they ended up not getting the top seed and home field advantage, but it didn't matter because they got beat in every single game against the Astros. But when the Yankees are like this at home, they're very difficult to beat.
Yes.
I mean, they're using right field in the way that they should be using right field. They've got tremendous power, and the fact that they're doing this now in April when it's freezing out, when you don't normally have these massive offensive numbers, and it makes you think that in the summertime that this is going to continue. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, the ups and downs of a regular season in baseball, there's so much, but it's great to see the Yankees with a big start out of the gate. And this is a game I'm not, spend too much time on screaming about, but the Mets yesterday looked as if, that looked like a middle of the season day game after night game where they went out in Miami the night before and then played in San Francisco the next morning.
Well,
that's what it looked like.
Instead, they played in Milwaukee, and it was Milwaukee's opening game.
Yeah, I mean, that was
so
just
they're
ugly.
a home opener. So,
Yeah.
and it was not pretty, and Carrasco was not pretty. I turned it off as soon as Hunter came in. I was like, I'm done. I can't watch this.
Yeah, I mean, and Hunter's supposed to come in there. It's not necessarily mop-up duty at that point, but just keep it there. He wasn't able to keep it there. He made the mess bigger. So, yeah, it was just really, really...
But, gee, you know what he was doing? He was pounding the zone.
Pounding the zone, yeah.
Yeah, they always talk about pounding the zone. Pound the zone, man.
Yeah, well...
Until they start hitting it all over the freaking place.
Yeah. And, Carrasco, issues with the pitch clock right off the bat. He talked after the game about how he is not really used to the... stamina level that you need to be pitching quicker. So that's something that he's got to focus on. So I don't know, man. It was something like that. It was something like the it's just like a tough to Jerry will probably have it, but it was something along those lines. Like the pitch clock he's just not used to, throwing so quickly.
Yeah, who else?
But he skipped his last spring start where he could have worked that stuff out. By the way,
isn't everybody kind of
Yeah, exactly. Yes, 100%.
Getting used to the pitch clock?
Just like they say, we all play in the same field.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God! If that is an excuse, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it was not good. And then Lindor and Alonso still not hitting either one of them. Those guys. the holes that they go into. Now, I understand, there's slumps and everybody's got slumps and whatever, and we've even seen it with Aaron Judge. When Aaron Judge is off, a lot of strikeouts, whatever, but last year he was pretty consistent most of the year. But I feel like when Lindor and Alonso have these slumps, they really have these slumps. I'm not just saying now in the first 4 games of the season, 5 games.
They got to carry the team, man. I'm telling you.
Like, they can't both be in witness protection at the same time because this offense just is not going to work.
I mean, yesterday was just one of those games. It was just like, oh, by the way, we got a game, and let's show up and do nothing. I mean, it was about as ugly as it gets. Now, if you have a number of those games back to back, that's when you have problems.
Yeah.
So, but you got to come back today, and I think, you got to come back today.
You got Scherzer on the mound.
Scherzer on the mound, and this is why you have Scherzer,
the stopper. Still can win the series, as ugly as that was. I saw a video from this game because obviously, opening day, you can get started drinking very early if you'd like to with the day game, and a Brewers fan was like in the. Like the equivalent of the Jackie Robinson Rotunda at Citi Field, like the big entrance of the stadium, just standing in the middle of that rotunda and with all the fans around him, swaying back and forth and relieving himself right in the middle. That was a video from yesterday's game. That was the most interesting thing that happened between the Mets and Brewers yesterday.
You sure that wasn't down here on the corner of Hudson and Charlton?
No.
And by the way, can I ask a question?
Of course.
When do you think they're going to pave Hudson? Have any idea? I mean, right now.
You're talking about down there. So I don't really experience that.
Yeah, it is brutal, man.
So
it is brutal. Sooner or later, I think they have to. Maybe they could do it today when the president's in town.
It's been about 2 weeks of that going like four-wheeling.
It's bad. It's pretty bad, actually.
Well, I never understood that. Like when they did the LIE in the Southern State Parkway, like they ripped it up.
They scrape it.
Then they leave it there for. So there has to be a reason why. There has to be a reason.
Why do you think they leave it there? I would think that you scrape it. Let's go. Let's slap some of that freaking.
Maybe they want it to settle or
asphalt down. Settle what? What settle?
I don't know.
Well, you're going to get 500 phone calls on this now. By the way.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, we got a lot of construction guys out there, and I'm sure we got a number of guys who are working on this particular project.
You got to let it settle.
I mean, we got to get it done.
That's that.
We got to get it done, and somebody, and I mean, my God, somebody, please, fix the road when you go just south of Canal on Barrack.
Mm-hmm.
That is like pothole city. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I see. I'm not around that area.
The car is like going it's going sideways, and and you're bouncing. You're all over the place, and it's like somebody wants to keep it that way because it's still Belgian block.
Yeah.
And that's the worst. Like the Belgian block's all settling different angles and everything else, and there are ginormous holes over there.
That's not cobblestone.
Maybe it's cobblestone.
Yeah, I think Belgian block is like the driveway.
Well, it looks like the Belgian block, but I guess it is cobblestone. But it looks like it.
Yeah, the old. How old is that cobblestone?
That is new. That is new. I think it's something that probably Bob De Niro wanted for Tribeca or something like that. Hey, here we are. We're in Tribeca. Great. The roads suck.
Yeah. Do you think there's any like original cobblestone?
Yes. On Erickson.
Okay.
People who know Tribeca, Erickson is god awful. Probably the worst road in America.
But it's original cobblestone, like horse and buggies were going over and stuff.
I know, but you could actually
got to appreciate the history.
You could drive down Erickson, and half of your car could be on a 45-degree angle.
But it's history.
I don't give a damn about history.
You don't appreciate American history?
Well, I love American history, but, we're not driving horses and buggies. Well, I guess in some parts of the city we are, but down here we're not.
Joe's in Orange County. What's going on, Joe?
Joe Construction here, my man.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's happening, Joe?
How you guys doing? Listen, over there, that's DOT. So you got a better chance hitting the lottery than seeing that paved anytime soon.
Why is that? Why is DOT taking so long?
That's the city. They're just lollygaggers. You know what I mean?
Lollygaggers?
Wow.
DOT is lollygaggers.
You telling me they're lollygagging? Are they pussyfooting too?
Listen to me. Those guys, listen, when we do it, we mill and we pave right behind. They don't work like that for some reason.
Huh.
I know. Not only that, but you got so many castings there, you're going to lose an oil pan somebody on their car, And then the city's not responsible either.
Yeah.
It's like you got a better chance hitting the lottery than getting the city to pay for it.
I was thinking about crossing the street, maybe stepping in a hole, breaking an ankle, hitting my face on, one of those sewer covers in Suna City for $45 million.
That's a good idea.
Right.
If you'd like to,
Radio host, right to sue.
Yeah. Right.
Are you a former MVP in the NFL who cracked his face in a pothole in Tribeca? Call 1-800-CRACK-YOUR-FACE.
Yeah, it's definitely it's troublesome.
It is, man.
Troublesome.
I know they're trying to get it done, but come on, DOT, let's go. Let's get it moving here. What are we doing?
Did one thing that I brought up off the air to these guys yesterday?
Yes.
Now we're talking about like overnight commercials. There's one guy, I don't know what product it is, but he starts the commercial. He goes, "I'm Bob Purr."
What, Bob Purr or Bob Papa?
No, I don't.
Bob Popper?
He's like, "I'm Bob Purr," and I don't know what his like. That's what he says. Like, I don't know if people address him, "Hey, Bob Purr." I don't know if he's Bopper or he's Bob Purr or what. But all I could focus on.
What is he selling?
I don't know, because after he talks, all I'm thinking of is, what is this man's name?
Do you guys have this in the
Probably
log?
not. I just totally off the top of my head just did this. So maybe later.
All right.
we can
find it.
But I don't know what this guy's saying.
It's not Big Lou?
No, it's not Big Lou who's got problems like you. No, it's
He's on 3 meds and 3 wives, too.
it's not Big Lou.
Oh, man, that guy.
Man, I know Big Lou's been through it a little bit.
Yes.
He's gone through the storm, that Big Lou, but he's trying to help you. This guy goes, "Hi, I'm Bob Purr." I'm like, what? Who are you? What is your name? And what are you doing?
Oh, we got to figure out what it is now.
We will. We'll get to the bottom of that at some point during the program. It is Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Quick break. We got Jerry in here in just a couple of minutes. Golf's first major is a tradition unlike any other, and now you can